Yo, what's going on, everybody? How's it going? Today we got the man, the myth, the legend, the cut bait chicken king, Dieter Melhorn. If you guys could give this stream a thumbs up, we greatly appreciate it. And we'll go ahead and bring him in here. Yo, what's going on, Dieter?
What is up, Carp and Catfish world? Y'all doing good?
We're trying, brother. You ever do any carp fishing, Dieter?
I actually have. I did. That was the thing around here when I was a kid. We've got a lot of carp lakes around here. And I had a good friend that we used to, run around fishing local ponds, but his dad was a big time carp fisherman. And I don't know how it is where you guys are and how it is in different parts of the country, but these are, as I call them, just legalized gambling operations is all they are. It was, it's different kinds of buy-ins and everything else.
Oh, yeah, the pay lake, yeah.
And as the fish of the hour, big fish of the hour, small fish of the hour, and as soon as we got old enough to drive, we would usually be the dinner run for them guys, and we'd go to Waffle House or some store and get them something to eat in the middle of the night and stuff. So it was a good excuse to stay out later than we normally would. And we kind of learned a little bit of it. I never got into it big time. We knew enough about it and did it enough. They were usually making the baits and everything. And I never got to where I could cast a bait ball as big as a softball. So that was kind of my experience with it.
It is, you just got to get used to it. If you don't do it much, it's hard to throw a ball of pack bait out there.
Oh, it is, man. It is a definite finesse game to get it packed to the right density so that it stays on the hook, and then the whole swinging motion, there is an art to it. It's a lot easier to throw chicken. I'll tell you that right now. Oh,
yeah. We're going to talk about some chicken because I'm curious to pick your brain on that. I sent you some flavors. I don't know if you ever did get them or not.
Yep, I got them. I'm going to actually play around with that stuff here as we start to get into a little more predictable catfish bite. I'm going to do some of that and give that a shot. So, yeah, they're sitting on my shelf actually in there in my editing room now. My wife keeps asking me what it is, and I'm like, smell it. It smells good. It's you can make some candy with or something one day.
There you go. I've tasted them all. Now, let me ask you this. Do you have a favorite flavor for your chicken?
Well, here's the thing. First of all, I'm going to say hello to Sharina in chat. I just saw her show up. So, Sharina, she's one. I don't know.
She's keeping it real.
Yep. She comes a lot of the catfish stuff. So, as far as flavor,
I think we lost your.
Lock me up. You still got me.
Yep.
Got me now.
Yeah.
Might have had a little lag, something going on.
Yeah,
but
a little bit.
The strawberry started out kind of as a little joke, and I'm not the person to do it. Luke over at Catfish and Carp has done it. Other people have done it through the years, and I tried it just to try something different. I said I'll use strawberry, and everybody knows the story. It worked. It catches fish. I'll be honest, though. I don't know that the flavor has anything to do with it.
That was part of my question as well. Did you think it really mattered? So
I don't. I've got a feeling, and I've got something, another video I'm working on for later this year, talking to a biologist about it. And I think it's something much more molecular. That is the play here, and I think it has to do with some of the amino acids and stuff that are in the chicken and the gelatin. This is just a thesis that we're going to try to prove or disprove as much as you can, because I don't know that fish exactly smell the way we smell. We try to apply our senses of sight and sound and everything to an animal. And, they're swimming around using, their whiskers and stuff and barbels and everything to feel and, sense. And, they got a lateral line. And I think it's a different game. So I think it's something much more primal is what I'm getting at. And I don't I don't think it's like, oh, this is sweet. We like that because, you know, they're not like us to where, you know, we eat sweet stuff and it makes us happy and it tastes good. So I don't know that it really matters. I'm going to do some testing with some unflavored gelatin and try. And it could
Is
have
there a
nothing
reason you're putting the Jello on it then? I mean, could you
because
not just put
somebody
it?
else did it. The best reason for doing anything is because somebody else did it,
Gotcha.
to be perfectly honest. And
I didn't know if you'd consider just cutting it up and trying it by itself with no Jello, or
I did that year before last. My channel was a lot smaller, didn't get as much traction then, but it's still one of my biggest videos is one where I was fishing, just trying plain chicken. It caught fish too. And I didn't use it for long. I did it for a little while, and it caught fish at a alarmingly high rate too. And, you know, it could just be the chicken. It could just be the protein content, amino acids in the chicken alone. The gelatin may just be a look good, feel good thing that jazzes it up some. So I'm going to experiment around. I've got a whole list of stuff to try out and kind of see how it works. And we'll see what happens with it. You know, I started doing it really as it's not like it's a super bait and that it's going to, well, it does catch you more fish so far. I'll get into that in a minute, but
okay.
I was trying to come up with something for people because a lot of my viewers are, you know, people that are trying to learn. And, you know, not everybody can throw a cast net. Not, you know, everybody has a place to throw a cast net, depending on the time of the year, especially if you're bank fishing. You may not be in a place that has any shad. So, you know, not everybody has a boat. So I was trying to come up, you know, that was kind of the inspiration with something that's kind of quick and easy because there's nothing worse. You know, I'm blessed. I've got a bait tank sitting out here that's got 3 dozen live baits in it right now. It's 150 gallons. It's right next to my boat. I can scoop them out, throw them in the boat. I can go fishing. Not everybody can do that. And I was just trying to come up with something that would give people some options to where, you know, hey, it's 5 o'clock. Let's go fish for a couple hours. And that's kind of why I did it. So, I'm going to keep playing with it.
So. It's not a very messy bait compared to a lot of them as well, you know.
The only thing is it's sticky. That's the only thing is it is sticky. You will end up with it on your fingers, and if you don't wipe it off, it'll get on your rod handles and stuff. The one bad part is though, and been lucky so far, you have to be somewhat careful because you can get salmonella from using it. It is raw chicken. It looks and smells like candy, but you have to be diligent so that you're not, you know, there was a guy several years ago that was just using plain chicken up on Lake Norman. We all knew him. He's a dentist. I say we all knew him. He's still alive, but he was using chicken and he was notorious for eating boiled eggs. He would crack open a boiled egg while he was on the boat and eat a couple of boiled eggs. He ended up getting the salmonella and it was most likely from the chicken. So you have to be somewhat smart about that. But other than that, it's a pretty good bait.
Yeah. Sogo, Nick, he said that chicken has saved him from a blank more than one time. So,
yep. It has. I started using it a little more religiously late last fall. People who watch my channel have seen the video. I had a guide trip, took a guy out. This was probably August. Fishing was pretty predictable and decent then. And I remember the guy was in town visiting family from Ohio or somewhere. And he never caught any big fish. And I said, well, yeah, so we may find some, may get on some. And all I was using, I think, was perch or shad on those trips. And we caught fish, but it wasn't on fire. And I was back editing a video that night, and I had shot a few days before that. And I was like killing the fish. I was like, dang, man, I wish decent fish. They were into the teens and stuff. And I was like, man, I wish I could have got that guy on a fish like that. I was looking, and all the bigger fish were coming on the chicken. And I called him up and I said, hey dude, have you left yet? He said, no. He said, I'm leaving late tomorrow. I said, well, here's the deal. I said, free trip, 4 hours tomorrow morning. I'm going to film it. Be here if you can, but we're only fishing with chicken. So his wife was gracious enough to haul him up here, drop him off. He was staying about an hour away. We went fishing, and I think within 12 minutes, he'd put a 12 or 14-pound fish in the boat on chicken, and it was a great trip. And ever since then, I have had it at least as half of the bait I had. I've always got other cut bait and stuff, And up until about a week ago, the chicken had always produced more fish. The weights, I tracked weights for a long time. The weights were just slightly, I tracked the total amount of weight, and about 51% of the total weight came on chicken versus 49. So it's pretty much split. But it was like 71% the last time I looked at the numbers had come on chicken. So
Wow.
A lot more fish. So until recently, though, and we're starting to get here in the southeast into kind of our pre-spring, spring kind of transition where fish are, water's starting to warm, fish are starting to transition. The last few trips, cut gizzard shad has outproduced the chicken. So
okay,
not sure if that's something that's here to stay. I'm going to keep testing it. But it has recently. So, but it's a good bait.
Be the spot too. You ever notice that sometimes it doesn't matter what you throw, but there'll be one rod that catches almost every fish?
I sat there and edited a video this morning, and anybody watching my channel knows about Pinky, my pink bait casting reel. And it was, I don't know, I think I caught 9 fish in that video, and probably 5 of them came on that rod. Wasn't the pink reel that brought them in. It was the corner of the boat that rod was off of. There was, a deeper channel, but that's where the fish were at, and that's what was working. And yeah, sometimes that can happen. Now, when it happens for no reason that you can figure, it leaves you scratching your head. But usually there's something out there that you're putting that bait at. And there's always the argument that, well, that rod is getting fresh bait, especially if you're swapping out bait. Now, if you're not swapping out bait, it's who knows what it is, but sometimes it works out that way.
Gotcha. Now, your biggest catfish ever, was it on chicken or was it on something else?
My biggest one came before I started doing the chicken thing hardcore. It was on Santee Cooper. Was that 2 years ago in January? And it was 71 pounds. And I had been hung at 60, 61 forever. Had a bunch of fish right at that 60 pound, 12 ounce, 61 right in there. And that stayed around forever. And most of those were caught. I'm trying to think back. I would almost say every one of them came on perch. Though 71 came on a very small piece of perch, maybe as big as your finger. I had several other big baits out, and that one hit a small bait. And the other ones have kind of been a mix. I think there was one on a largemouth, or not a largemouth, a spotted bass head. I think we can, here in the Carolinas, North Carolina, you can fish with cut bait as long as they meet length and creel limits. And the spotted bass, they're trying to eradicate. They in this river chain, they put a no size, no creel limit on them, so you can catch them. And but I only have them on cut bait, none of them on chicken. I have had one close. I had a 58 this year that came on chicken, a 40, and several others in that 40, 30 pound range. Gotcha. So big fish will eat it.
So when they say big bait equals big fish, sometimes that's not the case, huh?
Yeah. The thing I tell people about that is that big baits will definitely help to eliminate little fish. If you are just trophy hunting and you just want a big fish and don't want to mess with any little fish, put on a big bait. I do it when I go to the coast shark fishing. We chunk out big baits and try to stay away from the little stuff. And it's a good way. I don't know that it necessarily attracts them any better. I think depending on the time of the year, you may turn fish away if you've got too big a bait, especially if they're not feeding heavily and they're already full. We get into these time periods in the wintertime where the bite falls off, and that is probably because the metabolic rate of the fish slows down. They don't need as much food, and to process food, it takes energy, so it just doesn't happen. So part of the processing the food is it takes energy that they need, so they may not want to process a big something. It may be easier for them just to peck off a little one that comes, rattling by, especially, when you're drifting or something. So,
yeah.
It's that's kind of my take on it. So,
Do you ever do any bank fishing, or is it strictly boat?
I don't do any anymore. I want to, looking at doing some this spring. Started out bank fishing, spent my entire life doing that until I was a grown man.
Yeah.
I mean, I was, a lot older when I got a boat. And the thing that kills us where we're at, and I'm sure this is the same for a lot of people around the country, is access to areas to fish. Most of our lakes and stuff are very developed, surrounded by houses, and it's hard to get good access. We've got boat ramps and there's access around those. There's a few public piers. Those things are always, crowded. So you're very, very limited on where you can fish. And that's something I feel for bank anglers. It's a tough deal for somebody who doesn't have a boat to find a place to go fishing. And it's part of the, the double-edged sword with pay lakes is that, they provide a place that's safe and people can get to. And, it's like with everything in life, man, we got pros and cons to everything. And it's tough. I like bank fishing. I wish there were more places. It's one thing about like the Tennessee River chain. I go out there and fish a lot, and there's a lot of TVA access areas there for boats, and consequently, there's a lot of places you can bank fish around there, and you get a pretty good little variety of like different access. It's not like it's a boat ramp that's in the back of a cove and there's nothing but a shallow cove. Some places they're fairly close to some, steeper drop offs, and you got some variety. It's a struggle everywhere for people doing that. I wish I could do more of it because it's really fun, and it's nice to throw up a tent. You can walk around, and you can also go back to the truck real easy.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing I've noticed in your videos is when you fish from your boat. Thanks for the $5 dono fishing and gear entertainment. But when you fish, it looks like you're in a place where you need a boat to get to. The worst thing I think about being a bank angler is it appears that every time we set up, a boat comes over and fishes in the only spot you can get to from the bank.
I try to pay attention to that in places where I see people fishing from the bank.
It's typically bass fishermen that do it.
That's a different world. That's a different world.
Yeah, it is.
We are guests in their world fishing. That's the way you have to look at it. We're lucky to be on the same water that they are fishing in. One of the things I always tell people about bank fishing is, me, like everybody else, when you're bank fishing, always looking to sling that rod out as far as you can get it away from out there into whatever that deep water was.
Yeah.
And then so many times when we're in a boat, we're parked and we're casting up 3 feet off the bank, trying to catch. That's why I tell people on the bank, sometimes you're better off casting up and down the bank instead of casting way out, because there's a lot of fish running up and down up the bank there.
I think what
did Fishing and Gear just say?
He said you're his hero.
Oh, dude. Y'all need to check his channel out. That is a channel worth checking out. Fishes in some big water. I'm going to try to get up with him and go fishing with him. And a thank you to him for donating $5 to the channel here. That's awesome, man.
Yeah. Give him a shout, or go check him out, guys. Fishing and Gear Outdoor Entertainment.
Yep. Good guy. Got some good videos.
Yeah. Now, what I've noticed, though, is like bank fishermen like myself versus, the boat. You say boaters throw closer to the bank. Mm-hmm. We throw as far as we can. It's always a case of the grass is greener on the other side, I think. And, we're just hoping to get some fish. So.
Yeah, that's the way it is. Something's, I deer hunt and I turkey hunt, and I always, it's always somebody else's land. It's better than the land you got. You're always going, man, I wish I could hunt that land right there and it'd be right beside yours. But, that's just human nature. And, usually we find out that where we're at and what we're doing is pretty dang good.
Yeah,
My,
I agree
my
with you
dog
on
is
that.
okay, by the way. He's just barking as my wife
Oh,
coming
that's
on.
all
So.
right. I can barely hear him. So I've got a Great Dane, and if she comes through here, you'll know she'll probably knock everything down, including me. So, but let me see. I got some questions wrote down here for you.
Throw
Let
them
me see
out
what I
here.
got. How long have you been catfishing, Dieter?
Well, I've been doing it all my life. I mean, since I had somebody on a guide trip the other day, and got the same question. And I said, guys, I'm going to take you to the first place I remember fishing. It's all $1 million houses now. It used to be it was a place for the mills. We got cotton mills in the South, and my family, we're, mill workers. They were mill workers their entire life, and had this public place for, if you worked at that mill, you could go fishing. And it was several hundred yards of, right along the lake there. And that was the first place I remember going, and I had to be 6 or 7. And I remember clear as a bell catching the first fish. I don't know how I remember that. I remember catching my first carp there. I remember leaning over onto a Coleman lantern and burning off a chunk of my hand here.
The pump up kind or the other kind?
Yeah, the pump up kind, the kind that's, the top of it is like 900
yeah.
degrees. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I fished there. And like I said, running around the lakes and stuff around here, just foreign ponds, sneaking in, trespassing as kids, catching my son.
No.
I tell my son those stories. He's like, "Can I go?" I said, "No, you're not supposed to do that." But you did it, Daddy. I said, "Well, I wasn't supposed to." And then doing the carp lake thing, and then just bank fishing. I did that through my 20s, and was one of the places I deer hunt at. It was on a riverbank, and was out there fishing. I mean, I was married at this time, and was sitting there on the bank fishing and catching some catfish. And just like when I was a kid, I seen a boat go by. And just like when I was a kid, I said, man, I'm going to get me a boat one day. I remember thinking as a kid, I'll have me a boat one day. And then all of a sudden it hit me, Dieter, you're a grown man. You can go buy a boat. And I literally reeled my stuff up, came home, got my wife. I said, we're going to go buy a boat.
There you go.
Like any good woman that has an opportunity to spend money, she said, let's go. So I got my first one. So like I said, I was, a long way down the road before I did that. And been hooked ever since.
I'd like to get a boat, but I heard it stands for bust out another 1,000. So that's what's keeping me from getting one right now.
Yeah, break out another 20 or break out another 1,000, depending on what the repair is. They always say the 2 happiest days in a boater's life are the day they buy it and the day they sell it. So
I think that's the same way with when you buy a pool.
Yeah,
I've heard that too. And I know my brother's bought 2 pools, and he was just as happy when he got rid of them as he was when it got put up. So
we still have kids that are, we got an above ground, needs the liner replaced in it. My wife is dying to get an in-ground pool. And I am like, I think of all the people I knew growing up that have in-ground pools, and how many of them still have them?
Yeah. Really? Wow. It looked like you lagged up a little bit there, Dieter. We'll wait for you to come back.
And my back now. Got me now.
You're back. So you were saying that nobody still has the in-ground pools?
Nope. Everybody I know has gotten rid of them. And that's one of those things, especially a lot of them have, the liner type, they're not concrete. So you're dealing with swapping out liners, maintenance. And it's great when you have kids.
Yeah.
It's just, after that, it's kind of like, don't use it as much, don't use it as often. Then you start questioning how much you really want it. And you settle for a hot tub and you're done. So, how do we get to talking about pools?
I have no idea. We were talking about a boat. Muddy River Catfishing was wanting to know how he's supposed to get you on his show. He said you canceled on him.
Oh, yeah. They have a tournament going on. I think is it this weekend? I was going to be part of a live tournament. We're basically got him, Steve Douglas. That whole deal that's going on. And is it this week? Is it coming up this weekend? Oh yeah, it is this weekend because I'm going to Phoenix for the race. So I'm flying out that Saturday. I almost was tempted to do it, but the problem was between the time of the tournament. Cause see, what Muddy River's not telling you is you have to fish this tournament to his like standards and
Oh,
rules.
okay.
It had to be in the morning at this certain time. You can only use 2
Wasn't
rods.
there a rod limit? Yeah, I
2
thought I saw
rods.
that.
Yeah, he's gotta like stack it all in his favor. But so anyway, seriously, it's gonna be cool. Y'all check that out. Go check out Muddy River Catfishing. He'll have info up. You can follow him in the tournament. Ironically, I'm flying out to the state right next to him to work out there, filming a commercial at the racetrack. So, so I'll be flying right by him and I'll wave at him down there and wherever he's at. And it's pretty cool though. It's a big benefit for people that watch the YouTube channels and are into fishing. And it's kind of it's like a no money win kind of tournament. And then gonna take anybody that puts money into Super Chat, just gonna buy some stuff and make donations to different catfish vendors like Catfish Pro to get stuff back to the people that watch the channel. So it's a good deal. I hate I can't do it, but it'll still be good. More folks checking out.
Yeah. Have you tried their packaged catfish bait yet? Or
nope, but that is on a list of videos that I want to try doing. I have not fished with, I've got some chum pods. Did a video on that. The guy who got me those is actually out in Arizona. He's actually fisheries biologist, and he made these chum pods, which look like little Tide pods. And they dissolve in the water. They're pretty cool. And
it's kind of like pack bait for carp, really.
It is. It's somewhat similar. And they, just like a pack bait, it kind of floats to the bottom or close to it and dissolves. And you're basically creating that chum slick like you do carp fishing. And I've tried that, but I have not tried. It's been several years. I used some of a buddy of mine, that's a guy, talked me into using the Sunny stink bait for channel catfish. And I shake my head every time because I can still smell it.
It's rough.
Putting it on the spoon. But the packaged stuff, comes in little, like, I call them dog food pieces that are a little more, you ain't got to sacrifice a spoon to get it onto the hook and all that kind of stuff. And they also come in a little Ziploc bag. So I saw that on their website. I said, you know what, I'm gonna try that stuff out and maybe do some comparison videos this year, because again, it's stuff that for the casual fisherman, somebody new to chasing fish, it's something easy that they can get their hands on to kind of start out with and play around. Plus it keeps it, honestly, we lose track. We kind of take for granted the way we do things, that you can go out and catch bait and all this stuff, and you kind of forget about the excitement of trying something new. You get a new rod, a new reel, a new kind of hook, a new bait, a new light, whatever it is, there's this excitement of having something new to try out and see how it works. And it keeps it fresh. And I think that's kind of cool too. And that's why doing some of these videos is fun. It kind of, I guess the best way is I kind of had to step back from myself a little bit and quit focusing so much on, especially when you're trying to, do this for other people and help educate people. And I do it just to try to make them better stewards of the resource. And showing some of this other stuff is, it's fun. Let's see how it works. Sometimes you get shocked like I did with the chicken.
Yeah, and I hate to break you up here, but Hooks and Hammocks said that he was going to donate hundreds of dollars to you in Super Chat. But since you're not in it, he's just going to have to do it for Chris now.
Do it for Chris, man. Blow Chris is up. Blow Chris is up.
It all goes to the same place anyway, I think, guys. At the end, you guys are divvying it up.
Exactly. So, the only person we're trying to tell everybody to shun is Steve Douglas. He's got enough viewers and fans out there, and everybody loves him. So everybody shuns Steve during this thing.
the catfish, dude. That's my uncle. That's my Uncle Donnie. That's one of his favorite, people to watch and stuff. Steve doesn't seem to do a lot of videos anymore, but
he's got the mega rod business and nets and anchors and all that going on. He still gets out there and does some. The sad part is now he's got that beautiful, whatever that is, a North River boat or whatever, this, super duper boat, but his, all his hard work early on is paid off, and got a heck of a rod business and doing stuff at the Catfish conference. They had to do that virtually this year. And he's he'll be okay. Steve's gonna make it.
He's good to go. What about Catfish Dave? I've seen some videos where you guys kind of went back and forth. Is that a fun rivalry, or you guys
Yeah,
duking it out, or what we got going on with that?
no, I remember finding Catfish Dave when I was first starting because I was doing live streaming and stuff. And, I plugged him and, he started, he blew up, channel took off. He's got a totally different, personality and style than I do. And we are totally,
I like it.
180 degrees to each other. And, it's, he did bank fishing in the beginning. I think that was his, his niche. That was his touch, because there are more people fishing off the bank for catfish than there are fishing off of boats. And, I think that worked really good. He's since got a boat and he's, jumping into that world. Dave, I hope he watches my channel, because he definitely needs to learn how to, put more rods on the boat. They got plenty of room for more rods. He needs to learn how to anchor a boat. I'm releasing an anchoring video next week just for him, so he can learn how to anchor a boat so it doesn't swing back and forth. And I've got some drifting videos for him so he can learn how to drift in that boat. So
I wish he was watching right now. That'd be hilarious.
There's a lot of stuff. Well, I can guarantee you this, that it will be forwarded and sent to him. Probably a bunch of screenshots. I've got a bunch of videos to help him out on the, boat fishing side of it. It's that's the cool thing about YouTube is there is something for everybody out there. And there is no, there's really no right or wrong way to do it. The fans and the people watching will tell you what works and what doesn't work. And, you look at Muddy River Catfishing, what he does out there where he's fishing at, totally different ecosystem than what most people fish in. And, that's the cool part about it. And, that's why I like it. And there's different stuff for everybody. There's, some stuff I watch that, I go, well, I'm never going to do
Steve
that.
Douglas is in here.
Steve Douglas must be lost if he showed up. That's crazy. Hey, Steve, how are you doing? Steve's going to be one of the people fishing in the tournament. As far as I know, I thought I heard him say something about there may be something going on. Hopefully he's going to be in the YouTuber tournament too. But he's been around forever. He's kind of, he was kind of the motivation for me to start doing this bigger than what I've been doing it or had done it. I've had the channel, as it's called, forever. But like a lot of people, it was just basically a place to, deposit videos that you would show to somebody in a fishing forum, when we used to go to websites like Catfish One and stuff to look at stuff. And, but seeing what Steve was doing, Steve made it into a real show. And somewhere along the lines a few years ago, after we cut the cable on satellite and TV, was streaming YouTube. And I said, oh, there's Steve. And I met Steve before at some tournaments and stuff. And I said, you know what? I may try doing that, really try to put out something that people want to watch instead of just, back in the day, my original ones were just like one GoPro up in front of me. Audio was hideous. There was no story to it. It was just kind of some video, and decided to kind of up the game and try to make it better and better.
Yeah. Even in the last year, I've noticed that, you've got the drone shots going on, and it's, it's hard to believe that you can.
Thank you for COVID for. Oh, got me back.
You're back now.
I see me blink. Thank COVID for a lot of that. It allowed a lot of time to do stuff, and plus, in the beginning, I was kind of wondering if you could make it. I was going to make it too nice, if as stupid as that sounds. I thought, well, this is going to look too good. It's not going to look homemade enough, but a little research and a little checking, a little trying and dabbling, people appreciate it. And the bottom line, it sets me apart from everybody else, and everybody's got to be a little bit different. You don't want to copy what somebody's doing. You want to have your own little feel, your own little look. And I think I've got mine, and it's me, it's real. And, it's interesting. The one thing I've learned to do is jack my jaws, as Steve Douglas says. This is the guys on the street. My son don't believe it. Is I was generally a shy, introverted person. And not a big talker, engager, or anything else. And that has changed because of it. So I guess that's a good thing. Sometimes my wife wishes I would shut up on a road trip, but it is. The one thing I want to try, I was going to do it last year, and I wasn't able to do it because of COVID. I've always had a fear of speaking in front of people. And last year was going to be the year I was going to do some stuff with Cabela's and Bass Pro Shop and Academy and stuff. It didn't work out. So I haven't done that yet. So I'm definitely going to video the first time I get in front of a group of people and do a seminar, because that will probably be a whole lot of uhs in there. So
I don't know. I mean, you got plenty of practice with the live streaming on YouTube and all the videos. You know, I think you do a great job at it myself.
Well, here's the thing. For me, maybe it's because I spent my life on the other side of the camera. Staring into a camera and talking, no big deal.
Yeah.
And I've heard this. I got a buddy that is a public speaker. He sells and goes to these conferences, 8,000 people in the audience.
Yeah.
He says when he gets in front of, I watch him trying to do live streams, and they're hideous. And he says when he gets in front of a camera, he's just like, but he said when he's got people out there, he's like energized and jacked up.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to be the opposite. I'm going to be like, but I think it's like anything. Once you get into the flow of it, you'll be okay. Yeah. And I think if you halfway know what you're talking about, or you're comfortable with the subject, it's a lot different than trying to do it in school when you were standing in front of a group, a room full of your friends talking about something that a teacher forced you to talk about. So we'll get around to it one day.
You'll have people asking you questions too, which, I think that helps out.
Yep.
I'm kind of like you. When I think I started my channel around a year and a half, 2 years ago. And if somebody would have told me that I would have done a video and posted it publicly, I would have laughed, because I really wasn't, into like being out there. But once you get used to it, it's fun, It's kind of fun. My son got me into it. He's like, Dad, we catch a lot of fish. You should do this. And now he's kind of stepped away. He doesn't want to be in the videos anymore. And he got me hooked on it. So
the thing that I think, honestly, as silly as it sounds, I think it made me a better person online with just trying to keep things positive. Yeah. Not really promoting a bunch of negative stuff. I admit I don't steer away from controversy, but I try to. I mean, I say controversy as in controversial topics in the fishing world. I don't mind talking about them and discussing them, but I think it's made me better for the simple reason that I realized in the Catfish conference did this, what Steve Douglas puts on. The first year there, I had kids coming up to get pictures taken and get like autographs. And I was like, what in the heck? But it made you realize you're reaching people that you don't know. And, you've got an impact. And, I'm just choosing to make sure that's a positive impact and make sure it's beneficial. And we got enough negative people out there in the world doing the negative stuff. Let them do that. If that's what you feed on, you go feed on that and have fun with it. I'm going to try to keep it positive, keep it in a good direction, try to help people. Yeah, there'll be some stuff that, along the way we're going to have to talk about that is not exactly happy everywhere, but we can talk about it. We can have an educated discussion on it and hopefully come out better on the backside from it.
And that's how it should be. I curse, I used to curse a lot before I started YouTube. And once I started that, it's very rare because I want to be what I call family friendly.
Exactly.
Just in case somebody is watching, I don't want to, I like to be family friendly. So
I think you can find one video of mine where I curse in it. And that is when the catfish fin went through my finger. And
that probably hurt.
I think you'll either hear some dead space. I don't think I beeped it. I think there's some dead space in there. So if you watch my lips, you'll be able to see that one is there, but I'm the same way. I try to keep that stuff out of there. There's, again, it's, I'm going to do it. I ain't saying I'm, special, but.
Oh yeah, I got you.
The thing is like I said, I saw something today online. Somebody sat there and, made a post on Facebook, and I showed it to my son for the specific reason that it was full of F-bombs and all this. And I was like, son, I said, it's one thing to let something like that slip. It's another thing to type it look at it, read it, type it again, and then hit send. And it's just the same way in the video world doing YouTube videos. It's one thing if something like that slips out, you get finned in the leg or something, but you got time to go back and edit it and take it out and, rein it in a little bit for the world. Let's,
and I get, the world's an imperfect place. People cuss. So I don't hate anybody that does anything like that in their videos. But like I said, just for me, I try to keep it family friendly. I've noticed you do as well. I've never heard you cuss. The only time, I've probably slipped one out here or there. I know this year I got bit by a turtle while I was fishing. I was carrying it down, and I was like, "Look, guys!" And they was recording me. I didn't look, and it turned around and bit me. And I was lighting it up, but I didn't put it in the video. I cut out the turtle part.
Yeah, you got the editing power to take care of that.
Yeah. No turtle in that video, but it was pretty rough. What was?
That's funny. Yeah, we just like I said, there's enough negative stuff out there, and so some of it can be, I guess, entertaining or whatever, and make you feel better about yourself to hear somebody else complain. But I'll stick to the positive stuff, let somebody else do that.
Yeah, same here. I try to keep it real. Now, don't get me wrong, I've started to type stuff on Facebook before, but I never send it. I just delete it, and I'm like, it ain't worth it.
Let me tell you something. My life would be a lot simpler if I would follow the rule of type it out and wait till tomorrow to send it. But you'll be amazed how much stuff you wouldn't send. So,
believe me, I've wrote some books on there, and I'm like, you know what? It ain't worth it. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's not worth it. Let me pull up. Let's see what kind of other questions I got for you. I know that, like I was telling you earlier, I've done some of the Piscifun product reviews for like the Chaoses and stuff like that. And, what's your honest opinion on them?
I get, I don't know, probably, I don't know how many messages a day asking about.
Oh, I can imagine, because I get them too.
Which reel to go with. Yeah. And I got one just a little bit before I got on the show tonight and was asking, I think if you're looking for something affordable, to get into a bait caster or get into a spinning reel, I think they're hard to beat. Whether it be a bait caster or spinning reel for the money. Now, it's like I tell everybody. They say, well, is it as good as should I get that or an Abu Garcia? And it's like going, should I get a Hyundai or should I get a Ferrari? Which one would you get? Well, if you got the money to spend and money is no object to you, and go buy the best stuff out there. Listen, Abu Garcias are, as I call them, heirloom reels. They are reels that you will have the rest of your life, especially if you can get the Swedish made. But they're 130, 40, 50, 60, 80, $180. They're a lot more expensive to put, where we can fish with multiple rods and reels. To have 4, 5, 6, 8 of them, it's going to cost you a lot of money. So somebody new looking to get into fishing, that's the thing about the Piscifun products and why I started demoing them and trying them out. I wanted to see if there was something halfway affordable. There's a lot of stuff you can buy out there on eBay and Amazon, and you can order it and it's cheap and it'll probably work too. The thing I have tried to do with all the stuff I demo and try out is so that if there's an issue with it, whether I'm doing stuff with the B&M rods that I got over here, the rip and lip rods that I just got in Catfish Pro, I know these people. If there's an issue and I hear something break, I can go, hey, something's going on, something happened to your rod, something happened to your reel. Check it out. If you're dealing with some of these offshore deals, and by the way, everything's made in China. Let's just go ahead and clear that up.
Everything,
right away. So it's not like Chinese or any. It's all made somewhere else. So, but it's nice having somebody domestically that you can deal with if there's an issue. If I have an issue with, or I hear of somebody having an issue, you can at least point them to a real person. So that's the kind of thing. So back to your point, I think they got a wide selection of stuff. Initially they wanted me to try, you probably have seen the videos. They wanted me to try out a reel, and they sent me this, I think it's the Solace X. It's this big,
I've seen the video. Yeah.
It's a great shark fishing reel. You can catch catfish on it, but it was way too big. Yeah. And I think that Chaos they didn't have them or something. And I was like, you need something like this. And they're like, oh, we're out of those or something. I said, when we get those back in, that's worth doing the video. I said, these big things are they're really more of a trolling type reel, maybe downlining or something. They really weren't designed for, but I got some of this chaos and sent them to me. And I was like, wow, these are pretty good bang for the buck. Again, how long are they going to last? I don't know. The ancient Mariner reels that somebody sent me that people said weren't going to last a year.
You've had that a long time.
Yeah, 4 years into them. I fish about 120 days a year. I fish them within the means that they're designed for. I do fish lakes and reservoirs and slows running in rivers, so I'm chunking and pulling in 16 ounces of lead on them.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that I try to tell people on this tackle is use it within the range that it's designed for. Putting 100-pound braid on an Abu Garcia 5000 and then throwing out 18, 20 ounces of lead is not what that reel is designed for.
Yeah,
when you rip the reel off the seat connector, don't be shocked. Okay.
Yeah.
So you have to use the stuff within, the bounds of what it's designed for. So yes, that was a 10-minute answer to your yes or no question of, it's, I like the stuff so far and I'm trying to spin in reels too. So thought I had another one around here to try out, but so it's good stuff.
Larry, if you're still watching, some of the comments just pop up on the screen. I'm just highlighting those comments. People can still see your comments. Brian, thanks for the $5. Steve said not everything is made in China. And it looks like Sharina is keeping it real, kind of gave an arrow like, my take is not everything is made in China. But if I've had people tell me, they're like, if I had to buy a Chinese reel, or I'm not going to fish. And well, where are you getting your fishing line from? Where are you getting your hooks from? Where are you getting your rod? I mean, at some point, if you're going to fish, something that you're using is going to come from China. That's just all there is to it. You know?
And I should clarify that because Steve is right. Steve makes his monster rod in his shop, and he makes his anchors and stuff there. But the rods, the reels, fishing line. I'm trying to think of a fishing line company that makes any here. I can't think of one.
I think there is a couple that make it possibly, but a lot of it's just rebranded. A lot of it's the same stuff, just repackaged.
And a lot of it, I mean, I really believe, and I'm going to do some videos on this. I'm going to go to Walmart and buy a bunch of stuff, and I'm going to get some fish on it. And I hope I'm going to get it. I'm going to try to do so. I got some ideas for some stuff to, if the people who say that it won't bring in a big fish, I want to go to them and have them put me on one of their big fish and try bringing it in on the $39 Walmart rod. Because I think they can be done. Now, granted, the more expensive stuff makes the job easier. It can really help you out, especially when you get into some of the heavy weights, heavy leads, all that kind of stuff. But
more confidence too. It's a confidence you got,
don't let having high dollar gear stop you from going fishing. Go fishing. If it means getting a $29, $39 Walmart rod, go fishing. Go get it and go fishing. And hope that you can't hook into a fish so big it snaps it in half, because it would be the greatest experience in the world, even if you don't get to land it. But don't let it stop you from going fishing. So
for sure. I've done just a lot of the stuff like the Chaos XSs and stuff, and I always say if somebody sends me a product and I don't like it, I will not lie about it on camera. If I don't like it, I'm going to tell people I don't like it. Period. And the Chaoses, I fished them hard. At one point I had 9 of them, and I never did break one. So for a $50 reel, I mean, if it lasts a season, I think that's pretty good.
Did you open them up to see what the centrifugal break? How many breaks are in those things?
Well, there's different ones. The 40 is made like the 50. It has a 6-pin braking system.
That's why it casts so good.
The 60 has the old 2-pin braking system. So
that was the thing.
They're definitely made different.
And I explained to people the Catfish Pro stuff that I tried out. They're reels. They have a 2-pin system in them. And as I tell people, if you're a beginner, it's a lot harder to cast. You're going to have to set it up the way you're supposed to set up a bait caster and learn to cast it, because it's a big difference in casting one of these Catfish Pro and a PC Fun. The difference is once you learn how to really chunk one, the Catfish Pro will fly further because of the brakes. It's kind of that double-edged sword. When you're learning to cast, having 6 brakes in there is great because it kind of makes it easy. When you're trying to chunk it, you know, a football field, you know, most of those people take the brakes out, or pull the washers off of them. So it's kind of the double-edged sword. But I haven't torn apart any of the PC Fun bait casters yet. But I do know this: when I cast them, they are extremely smooth, and
yes, they are.
You barely have to put any thumb on those suckers to keep them from getting any overrun.
Yeah, I've done complete breakdown videos on them, and the unique thing about the Chaos is the 40 and the 50 are what I call a floating spool design, which means the bearings are actually inside the spool, like the Abu Garcias.
Yeah,
like the Catfish Pro. I don't want to say anything bad about it because I don't know if you're sponsored by them or anything.
No, I happened to put their stuff on because I got this in the mail the other day. I said, you know what? I'll give them a little plug.
I have seen that reel, and it's actually a rebranded Cast King Rover. It has the bearings are in the side plates, and it's just a rebranded Cast King Rover is what it is. But once you get into the like the Chaos, you can turn the brakes off on that as well. I went to the football field for a video, and I got 100 yards with a 2-ounce sinker on a 9'6" rod without turning any brakes off. So
nice. That's what I've been wanting to do. I wanted to figure out a non-human way, kind of like what's his name, Mark Roper, design a casting machine like he did with that field goal kicking machine,
that would
where
be awesome.
It will cast, but I don't have Mark Roper's budget to do this, and I know what he spends on some of his videos. But I guess if I could get 25 million views in, you know, like 48 hours, I would do that. But I would love to figure out a way to do that outside of just taking, you know, an average of 10 casts to see how it goes. But no, I'm not sponsored. That's the funny thing about my channel. I'm not sponsored in the sense by anybody. There are people kind of like what you were saying earlier that I always tell people, if you send me something and it's really just hideous, because I've had people send me some different designs, not so much rods and reels, but just like little things they make. And if it's really hideous and impractical, I'll send it back and never say anything about it and just go, hey, you need to do this, this, and this to make it work. But I also tell people, if there's something I want to do a video on and I have to go buy it, I will be brutally honest on everything. Now, I do say this. I don't try to beat anything up. I try to give you the bad points, but where it fits in and works. And what the reality is of it. I got a lot of flack on the Demon Dragon videos that I did a couple of years ago. And, you know, it's like I'm slamming Demon Dragons. Well, it wasn't so much slamming them. I kind of put the reality out there of exactly where they're at and what the reality is to them. And, you know, I try to do that with all the rods and reels too. It's just like with the Catfish Pro reel that I tried. It's a hard one to cast. Okay, now I know how to cast the bait caster. Somebody else throwing it's going to have a hard time with it. So I kind of, you know, I try to put that into perspective on stuff. Because you know, you can go out there and just slam something totally and beat it into the ground, and you know, there's some stuff deserving of that, and that may be the place for some channels. But I try to find.
And let me clarify. I'm not saying the Catfish Pro is a bad reel. In fact, I think it's what, $50 or $60. Sorry, it looked like you.
It's in a very
so all the reels I've noticed in that price range are basically, I don't know who originally made them, but they're a copy of a Cast King Rover. You know, pretty much. You've got that one, the Catfish Sumo, and they're good reels. They work good. They function good. There's nothing wrong with them. I mean, I didn't mean it like that, but I like a lot of comparisons to the Chaoses. And for me, it's like, I mean, I've got like 3 of these sitting right here. They're new in box, and they're so smooth out of the box. I mean, it's for the money. I think that's the best reel for that price range.
And that's the thing, you know, a lot of the stuff is too, you know, with the Catfish Pro, the Slime Cat has a reel and a rod out. There's some, you know, even the Ancient Mariner. They're kind of, I'll be honest with you, I think all those reels are probably made in the same factory. They're similar to the Ming Yangs.
Ming Yang as well.
But you know, there are little differences to them. You know, the slime cats, that slime green, a bunch of people love that. You know, that's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
And,
yeah.
you know, the Catfish Pro has the yellow anodized look to it. That's, you know, and the yellow spool, and that's real cool. People love that. I think there's an emotional attachment. I've said that in a bunch of my videos on rods and reels that people, you know, I love red. You know, I got all red stuff sitting over here over my shoulder. There's that emotional attachment to stuff. And a lot of times these things perform fairly similar. And, you know, you just like something that's, you know, a little bit different about it. And, you know, and again, it goes back to the company a lot of times just being able to reach out to them. You know, somebody can, you know, call up Steve Douglas at, you know, Monster Rod Holders and go, I got a question about these rods. Now, Steve won't answer the phone for me. You can call and he'll answer it. He won't answer it for me. But yeah, you can ask him, which rod holder do you need? You know, the Catfish Pro guys, it's a father and son deal. And their phone numbers, one thing I said in the thing I was impressed with, their phone numbers right on the website. So you can call them if you got questions. So that's the thing with some of this stuff. Yeah, it's not, you know, Abu Garcia. It's, you know, what's the expensive one from Shimano, that $800 spinning reel that they make.
They got all kinds of them. It's crazy money.
Yeah. It's just, you know, we got a thing in the catfish world. As I've said before, it's a working man's fishing world. You know, most of us don't drive around $80,000 trucks with an $80,000 boat attached to it, you know. And, you know, budgets are a little different than they are in the bass fishing world and the saltwater offshore world. So,
do they have a budget in bass fishing?
I don't think so. They sure don't in saltwater. The saltwater world's even worse as far as just spending money. But yeah, I think having all these affordable alternatives out there is, I think it's good. It gives people, you know, they can get something, like I said, that looks really nice. A Catfish Pro reel looks really nice. A Slime Cat reel looks really cool. And, you know, it looks good. And, you know, they may not have a wide selection like PC Fun does. You go to their website and, man, they've got everything from, you know, something to catch catfish with up to, you know, the low profile bass, you know, reel. So, you know, so you kind of got a good little diversity out there. And, you know, I think that's good for everybody. I think everybody benefits from that. And as you get into it, stay in it longer, you can spend more and more money, and there's somebody to take that money from you whenever you want to spend it.
That's a fact. Let me see if I can find my questions here again. I know I had a couple more I was hoping to get to. On that same thing, have you ever had a product that you tested that you absolutely hated it? I mean, you just thought it was terrible.
Let me think if there's one. I'm sitting in my studio, which is in my building. I'm looking over here at stuff, trying to think of what I'll tell you one. And these are people that I still get stuff from, and the video's out there. So I ain't pulling any punches on it. It's still out there and I didn't pull it. I did not like slime line at first. The slime line that came out.
I saw both your videos on that. Yeah.
It had stretched through the roof and way too much. I'm not a fan of something that stretches. That it was so bad that when we were doing the water weight test, I had to adjust how far. I mean, it was like stretching this far on a short piece of line. Something has changed in their formulation or who they're getting their line from or something now, because I don't use it on my catfish rods, but I do use it on my striper fishing rods and my crappie fishing rods. Still has some stretch, but the stretch has more bounce back now. It rebounds, whatever you want to call it. Instead of stretching and staying there, you know, you get some stretch now, you've got real forgiveness in it. That was one. And, you know, maybe I was a little too harsh and whatever, but it's better now. That is the thing. Did I have anything to do with it? I don't know, but it is a better line to use now. And that was one where, you know, tried it out and it just didn't, it was not something I want to use. You know, I still don't use their catfish line. I'm just an Andy fan, and that may be an emotional attachment to that too. But Andy is very good line. The Monster is what I use, and very happy. I'm a monofilament catfish. vibration resistance and, the reasonable stretch in it. And that's what
Yeah.
I've been with. That's the only one that come on that, just didn't like, I've got my issues with demon dragons just because I say issues. I got my catch there is you're not going to catch more fish on them. I proved that
Yeah.
in tests.
I believe that. Yeah.
And the price point at which they were selling at $5.25 or whatever. I bought 2 packs of them, which I'm going to be doing some more videos on. $5.25 a piece to put a float on there. I don't think it's worth the money for me. I don't think it's worth the money for anybody else, but especially for me. So that's one that's probably, one. But I'll say this. This is the thing I said about them is if it gives you some confidence and it gives you some excitement and you got the money to do it, who cares? It's your money,
Yeah.
And again, that is one of those things that, we had been doing it. Those of us that fish for catfish had been putting rattles into peg floats. You take the old bass worm rattles that they would cram inside of a worm or soft plastic. They're inside a little glass tube. We had been doing that, replacing the bobber stop in a Santee rig for years doing that. Did it catch more fish? Who knows? We thought it maybe it would help. We would do it. That came around and it was like, oh, this is more. I think it's more of an emotional thing. It's something new to try. And again, that's not necessarily a bad thing if it keeps you fishing. Just don't feel like you have to have it.
I've got kind of a two-parter here.
Sure.
John, he was asking thoughts on the Bass Pro Mega Cast, which I've never used yet. I'm planning on maybe breaking one down. And have you ever used a Whisker Seeker rod or their line? I use a lot of their stuff and really like it. So I was curious if you have used it or not.
Funny story about Whisker Seeker. Whisker Seeker's got a very good relationship with Luke at Catfish and Carp.
That's where I saw the rods at for the first time.
Yeah. And, listen, Luke, if I was them, I would be promoting my stuff through Luke too, because he's got way more reach than me. But I reached out to him a while back and asked him, I said, hey, do you want to put a couple of rods on the boat in the spread, try them out, talk about them, that kind of thing. I got a response back from them that they were not seeking pro staff applicants at this point, which I had to laugh about because anybody watching my channel knows I'm the furthest thing from pro staff. I'm not a pro staff kind of person. No, I have not. I would love to try them out, and if they happen to be watching, would love to put a pair of the rods on the boat. I always try to fish stuff in pairs. Would love to try them out. And listen, if Luke is using them, they got to be good. They're probably going to be like most rods out there. They are a bright orange, if I remember right, similar to like the Catfish
really fast.
Yeah, and if Luke's using them, they got to be good rods. Would love to try them, but listen, if they got Luke Nichols, they don't need me. So, probably not going to see them on my boat anytime soon.
Funny thing, I think I don't know if I have 9 or 12 of them right now. I can't remember. But usually I have around 12 of their rods. And I asked him, I said, hey, I spend a lot of money with you guys. I like to do giveaways,
Right.
I really enjoy that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so I said, hey, would you guys be interested in donating a rod for a giveaway? And they basically said that I was way too small. So I was like, okay, go ahead and order me 3 more, I guess.
Listen, I get that. Okay. I understand. They're going to get the most bang for their buck. It's part of the reason I enjoy helping and exposing stuff like Catfish Pro, PC Fun. PC Fun's it's as big as probably Whisker Seeker, if not bigger.
They're gaining momentum too. That seems like they get bigger every year.
Yeah, but Catch the Fever, Big Cat Fever rods, Caleb and everything that they put out. I like helping them promote their brand. They're one of the bigger ones now. But some of these other people, like Catfish Pro trying to do what they're doing, Slime Cat trying to do what they're doing.
Yeah.
You never know who's going to create something that may have some real traction, some real benefit. And, it has appeal to people and, that's cool. And I guess those big guys will be okay. Yeah, I'd love to work with Abu or something like that. But to them, for them looking into our world, it's, you know, they don't need it, basically, is what it comes down to. So we'll help some of the guys that are a little more. So one thing about the products and the people with a lot of these smaller brands is they're kind of in our community, is the best way to put it. You know, I use hookers, terminal tackle hooks, you know, James Arwood and everything with, you know, small deal. He's putting on Catapalooza coming up in May, and, you know, small company. He's in the community. I like doing that. That's cool. It's cool having that connection to those kind of people. And, you know, the big guys will be okay, I think. So,
yeah, they'll be fine, I reckon.
They'll be fine without it. I think they'll be okay.
But I will say they do make a pretty good product. Their rods are like, I don't know, $80 or $90, and I've just had a hard time finding something that was as good for that money. You know,
They got a wide range of stuff too. I mean, you look at, you know, their brands, you know, pretty broad in what they got. It's not just a rod and reel. They've got a lot of stuff that they sell. So they've done a real good job in building their brand and, you know, kind of being a name in the catfish community. So, you know, they got a lot of stuff out there. So they'll be fine. They're doing good. And, you know, when I tell you this, when you go to the Catfish conference, the Whisker Seeker booth is one that looks like something out of iCast. It sticks out above all the rest. They've done a very good job with the look, and just really, as far as building a brand and an identity, they did a masterful job of it. Probably the closest thing is Catfish, Katfish. They're the ones that probably have. I still say the Catfish brand is the perfect. It's the look, and then we're talking about branding and stuff. That whole look style is one that stands out anywhere. But Whisker Seeker done a great job with theirs too. So it's cool. Have you been to the Catfish conference? Did you?
I have not. I would love to go. I didn't really start getting into it hardcore, like I said, until, you know, a couple of years ago. I usually just ordered my stuff online, you know.
Yep.
Well, I would have went this year if it wasn't if it was, you know, the real deal. I definitely would have went this year.
Well, the thing this year, that, you know, that was our only trade show for a while. This year, Catapalooza is going to be happening in Pigeon Forge. I think it's the third week of May, and you know, we didn't get to have Catfish conference this year. That has kind of been our industry trade show, so to speak. They did it virtually online, but there's nothing beats holding rods, looking at tackle, talking to people. And Catapalooza, if everything keeps going the way it's going, trending the way it's going to, you know, it's going to happen, I think, the third week. And it's in Pigeon Forge, which I think is a great location.
That's kind of right there in the middle, you know. So.
Yeah, and it's a great place where, you know, if you want to take the family can go out and do all kinds of stuff in Pigeon Forge, you know, while, you know, you're going to a trade show. So it's a great way to con mom into going on a road trip. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm actually going to be there. Planning on doing both of them. Was going to go to Catfish conference and Catapalooza. Catapalooza may be our first little return to normalcy in the catfish world as far as trade shows go. So.
Now, I watched a lot of the Catfish conference on YouTube there. I think Paul Meadow, he was kind of the host or whatever it looked like. I couldn't figure out how to order anything, so I didn't know if they had codes or what. I just watched some people talk and
that was
different stuff. So
that was the downside to. I mean, that's one of the complicated issues and all that is doing something virtually like that. You have to leave the platform to go buy something. And you know, so you're sitting there watching something, and then you're going to have to leave there to go order something, and then Luke's coming up and I'm going to watch him. And then you're forgetting about whose rod you just had or whatever. And it's like, oh, wait, you don't get that impulse buy like you do at the show, you know, where you're sitting there and you're like, I want that. And you pull the wallet out and you buy it. That's kind of the downside to doing, you know, the virtual show the way they did it. But it was something. I've heard mixed reviews from the vendors. Some people enjoyed it, and it was a good deal for them to participate in. And, you know, they had a lot of sales. Some other people, it was kind of a break even kind of brand, exposure kind of thing more than anything. But hopefully we don't have to worry about a virtual catfish conference anymore, and we can get back to the real thing next year, which would be good. So
I wish I hadn't watched Luke on there. I watched his segment. He made me feel bad when he was talking about how he had to get like several million views on a video to feel like it was good. I was like, if I get 1,000, I feel good.
I had the delete channel button pulled up on my YouTube channel for a minute there, and was just getting ready to delete my channel too, because you just feel totally worthless after listening to an attorney with a law practice that says he's making 7 to 8 times as much money on YouTube as he is in law practice. I was just like going, where do I just delete my channel? Let me just go back and do something else.
I don't know if he still practices or not, but I know I wouldn't.
The truth is, he's smart. He still has the practice. He's smart though, in that you don't know what's going to happen on YouTube. But for now, it's amazing where he's at. And the bottom line is this: it's motivation for anybody that tries to do anything on YouTube. Is that the sky's the limit? I've said before, I never aspired to be as big as he is, but if I can get a 10th of where he's at, I'd be pretty dang happy. So.
The cool thing is, like I look at it and it gives you hope, somebody else did it. And so it gives you the hope,
it's proof
like, wow, it's possible.
It's proof of concept. It's proof that it works. Luke is the master of, he is proof that you can't just put you fishing on it. Well, you can, because there's Richard Gene, the fishing machine, that does that. But Luke's
I've never watched him.
he's a different one. It's a little broader.
Everybody tells me to check him out, and I never have. I haven't yet. I need to.
And it's funny. I love his. It's a mixed bag. I can't watch his videos, is what it comes to. I can't watch them for long. They're kind of, but, and it's but. For some reason, it just doesn't drive me nuts in locking me in there. But he is like, Uncle Richard. He has a charisma that you cannot duplicate. And, he's got that draws people in and makes them watch. He is like your uncle that, went fishing, and he's as down to earth and, comes across as real as can be. That's something you can't replicate. I can't try to do that. You can't try to do that. You've either got it or you don't. And it is broad reaching in its appeal, which brings me back to what Luke's, says in his videos. His videos are a little broader reaching in their appeal. And while he started out as Catfish and Carp, some of his stuff that had really big success is that broader appeal, more to the fishermen in general, a wider range of fishermen. And that's kind of a takeaway anybody that does anything on YouTube can kind of get from what he does. He's pretty amazing in what he's created.
I watch his Outdoor Boys as well. And it goes to show you that if you're going to blow up, fishing's probably not the way to go. But do it because you love it, guys.
It's you can do really good in fishing. The thing with Outdoor Boys is it's got a wide ranging appeal to it. So I keep joking with him that he's going to have to adopt some kids once they grow up if he plans to keep this going. So he's going to have to plug some more kids into that whole deal.
There you go. Tell him to come on my show. We love you, Luke. Come on here, buddy. I've never personally talked to him, but he seems like he'd be a good guy. So
he actually kidnapped my son last year at the Catfish conference. We were at the Catfish conference, and my son went with me last year, and he's like roaming around, and I let him take his phone with him so I could keep up with him. I texted him, I'm like, "Where are you at?" He goes, "Oh," he said, "Luke's got me watching his setup over here while he goes out and shoots some video." And I was like, Luke came by, and I was like, "You kidnapped my kid to watch your stuff so you can go shoot." So he's as good a guy. He's one of those people. He's as genuine in person as he is on air. So good guy.
Oh yeah, he seems like a great guy. I sent him a message like a few months ago, but I know how it is. He probably gets 8 million people, so I don't blame him at all. But
that's the there's people I've wanted to reach out to before about doing something with if I'm in a certain area. Richard Jean, I was when I go down to do stuff at the Talladega racetrack, I thought about getting up with him. He's halfway close to there, and in the beginning, I think he that might have worked. Now he probably gets shoved. The interesting thing was Jimmy Houston. When he first started his channel, he was watching my channel, and we had exchanged some messages and stuff together. And we were at, I want to say it was the Kentucky racetrack, and I didn't realize he was there. I was working the race, and me and him had been swapping text messages and stuff, and he was going to try to come fishing or something. And, so anyway, where's the racetrack? And the producer sends me a message. He's in another room. And he said, "Hey, there's this fishing guy in here. You ought to come see if you can meet him." And I was like, "Oh, who is it?" And he said, "Oh, it's Jimmy Houston." And I said, "Go tell Jimmy I'm here and to come see me." And he sent me back this LOL. Yeah, right. I said, "No, seriously." I said, "Do it." And he texted me back a few minutes later. He's like, "Oh my God, he knows who you are. He's coming over there." So it was like, it was like really cool. He's a nice guy, funny, as real in life as he is, on camera.
Yeah, I love Jimmy Houston. I watch his channel. He's got the deer, where
that's cheating, man. That is cheating when you have deer and babies and pregnant deer. That's just not fair. And I told him that. I said that's unfair to us who just have us, you have this space and that's it. He's got deer. I'm thinking about getting a possum or something that's cute.
my wife said she just wants to meet Jimmy Houston's deer. So it's a big draw. If you look at his channel, that was one of the catalysts because he had Bill Dance on there and some other people. And then when that whole thing started with the deer, I think it was early last year or something, his videos blew up. I mean, that was, I think, his first big video was probably that, something with the deer, Lucy and everything. And it's funny how something like that can kind of be what can become your channel. And his channel is probably going to become more about those deer than it is about fishing ever will be, which is kind of interesting. And everybody knows Jimmy Houston. I grew up watching him as a kid, and when it popped up in my recommended, I was like, "Don't mind if I do," right there. I had to click on it,
I was very proud. For a while there, I had more subscribers than him, and we were kind of going neck and neck for a while, and then boom, he brings a deer in and never sees deer again. So there you go.
Well, if you guys aren't subscribed, I pinned a link to his channel in the comments. So subscribe to Dieter. He's a heck of a guy. I was nervous, Dieter. I was nervous. I messaged several people, trying to get people on the show. So I really appreciate you coming on too, man.
Oh yeah, man, this is fun. I like I said, jacking my jaws and talking. I think it's cool, and I also think it's good for people to get exposed to other channels out there and other people doing stuff. And your stuff's cool to watch. And the thing is, I try to remember. Let's see, how many subscribers you're at? 4,000, somewhere in there.
35 something. Yeah.
Call it 4. It sounds better.
Be a while, but
I've been at that point, and getting some exposure, getting your name out there to a little wider range of group of people, it's a good thing. And I appreciate like early on, Catfish Weekly, Lyle got me on the show very early on, and helped kind of get my name around there and had me on at the Catfish conference and stuff. And it's something we're in kind of the YouTube world, fishing world too. It kind of translates over that and see if you can, kind of work with people, help people out, spread the word, spread the love. It's a good thing.
Yeah. I live by the saying ELE, everybody love everybody. But if you have time for a couple more questions, I'd love to ask you some. If not, I totally understand.
Absolutely. This is actually these live feed is much better than me doing one because I've actually got somebody to interact and talk with. So
I love it. I'm having a blast here. So like
Serena's still in there. So as long as Serena's around, I kind of feel bad if I leave. So
she's still there. I see her there.
Yeah, still coming in there.
I'll let you answer his question first. He wants to know what the best rig to use in the spring is.
Same time, yeah. I'm a big Santee guy, Santee Drift Rig, and I use that anchoring up too. You watch a lot of my videos. A Santee Drift Rig, I've got videos on it. If you don't know what it is, it's basically a Carolina rig with a peg float on it that floats the bait up off the bottom. It's made to drift with if you use a drifting sinker or something, bounce along the bottom while the boat's moving. I like the fact that the cork floats it up off the bottom, but keeps it in that bottom range, that bottom 2 feet or so, where catfish seem to be staged up at when they're actually feeding. And that's why I like it. You can always use just a bobber. The problem with that is when you're casting out, especially if you guys are bank fishing, you kind of don't know how deep the water is out there. You can cast out, do the sinker count if you know how fast your sinker falls per second, but you don't know how far your bait off the bottom is off the bottom. With the Santee rig, you know, because it'll float it up. Now, it's not good in all applications. If you are doing some boat fishing, if you're fishing straight underneath the boat, it's not the best rig for it. But I like it. Using a regular Carolina rig, that's the simplest, most easy old school rig there is. The one issue with that is some of the areas I fish are very silted in, and they've got a lot of a place I like to fish on almost every lake is where a river comes in and meets the reservoir. And I don't know what this area is called, but it's where the water in the river slows down. There's always crap dumped right there. It's got leaves and debris and stuff. And somebody's going to tell me what the hydrological name for that area is in a reservoir, but there's always crap there. And when you cast something out, I know when I pull my anchors in, I've got stuff all over them, leaves, debris, and it just seems like having that bait floated up above that stuff helps out. So there's a 10-minute answer to a simple one-line question. But I like to tell people why I do it too. So that kind of makes a little more sense.
Well, this is kind of a question from my wife. She wanted to know what your favorite fishing gadget was. If you had something that you really liked that you used all the time, or
trying to think of this gadget, and I would define gadget as something that is not directly fishing related.
Okay, I think she was thinking something that is fishing related.
Okay, think of what gadget. That's so tough because I got so much junk. I got so much stuff. I don't know. God, what would I narrow it down to? I don't know a good answer. And I love my boga grip. You see me use that on the videos, and that's the actual real boga grip. That's a rare fishing product made in America, down in East Boga, Alabama. I like that because it's got a scale and it's a great way to hold fish. That's a cool deal. I am not sponsored by them. Wished I was. If you're watching down at Boga Grip, they're outrageously expensive is the reason I would wish that. It shows you what happens when you make something in America out of stainless steel that does not rust. It ain't cheap. Boom pliers. The boom pliers. That is probably not sponsored by Boom Pliers either, in case you're listening. I don't know how many pairs of those things I've sold. Those pliers, if you've watched my videos, they've got the pistol grip on them. They're long needle nose pliers that have a nose on them about this long. Okay. And then where they come back, the handle, instead of being like a pair of normal pliers to where, I'm going to try to show this, where I would squeeze them and they're doing like this, they're at an angle. So when I squeeze it here, it's at an angle. So you can go deep into a fish's mouth. The gear section. Pair. Blinked out again. I saw me blink. Now I'm back. But yeah, the boom pliers are probably my favorite gadgets just because deep hook fish is really nice. You know, I use circle hooks most of the time. That doesn't happen. But when it does happen, you can really get down into a fish's mouth very easily, ergonomically friendly. So that's my answer to that one. Final answer.
Okay, gotcha. And now, I know, how long have you been doing YouTube for? You say several years then, or
I think I'm in the fourth year now. I think I'm in the fourth year. Yeah.
It seemed like you really blew up in the last year or so from when I've been watching you. Seemed like you
Well,
doubled in subscribers or so.
funny you mentioned that. I just wrote on tonight's list. It was last June, I believe. I did my 25,000 subscriber thank you video.
Wow.
And I just put on the schedule to try to produce next week the 50,000 subscriber video, because that will probably happen this week. So,
Yeah. No, you're right.
that's the thing with YouTube. Once you kind of get into it, get into a rhythm and figure out and start cranking out the content people want to see, it usually goes, you're usually doubling your subscribers every year. So it goes from,
Yeah.
5,000 to 10 to 20 to 40
Yeah.
to 80. It kind of is an exponential increase, and when you really hit the golden little ticket, it really takes off.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah.
The
I saw
more you
somebody
have,
was
the more they show your stuff, to other people too.
yeah,
So,
you hit that right thing. Somebody was asking, I just saw it, are you sponsored by Catfish Pro?
uh,
No, not. I mean, here's the thing.
not yet.
Yeah, well, here's the thing I always say about sponsored. It depends how you define sponsored. They, like everybody else's product I use on here, have sent me products to use and try out, and I'm pretty transparent about that.
Yeah.
But as far as like that is like the only one I use, no, I've got stuff from different people that I use. I recently did a deal with them. Just trying out some of the rods and some of the reels. And I just put this on. Honestly, this is bad because it's clean and it was sitting in there, and there's a bunch of my regular fishing stuff is piled in a pile nasty. So, but it's actually a good hoodie. I will say that. Outside
It looks nice. I mean, it looks
a very
nice.
comfortable hoodie.
Yeah.
Chilly enough for a hoodie, but I've got shorts on. Which you can't see from here down. So we're in that little transition stage. And the other thing is the hat fits my head. And I make jokes about that. I've had, people send you hats, and the trucker hats with the big thing look fun. My head's already the size of a watermelon. Okay. So I need a hat that's form fitting. Otherwise my head looks really funky big. The other thing is I just like them that are form fitting onto my head. Plus I've got hair now, which I need to get it cut, but these fit my head good, and they're also vented, and I kind of like those, but I've got so many hats that I put on and they don't fit my head and they feel like they're sliding off. And that was a long answer to another question that could have just been yes or no. That's what happens when you get me on the show, man. It's just like, yak.
So if you were going to give advice to somebody that's trying to up their game, or they're looking to start a YouTube channel, is there one piece of advice that you wish you knew when you started?
I will tell you this right now. If you were going to try doing it, I had this talk with Keith from Fishing and Stuff. A lot of y'all probably know his channel.
I love him. Yeah, he's so hard.
We're actually in the same town. He's like been over here to the house a couple of times. We live right near each other.
Yeah.
We were talking about this. The one piece of advice I'll give somebody, I'll give you some legitimate advice for building a channel. But I can tell you right now, the first thing, if you're trying to build a channel, don't start accepting a bunch of friends on Facebook. That is,
oh my God. I only have like 3,500 subs, and I get like 8 million requests every day.
It's a bad idea. I accepted in the beginning. Like a lot of people, like, oh, this is a great way to promote my channel. Bad idea. Because the people, like, the thing about Facebook, if you have a kind of a halfway tight group of people in there, it's people that you have either you disagree with, but you can get along with, or they're like-minded people to you, relatives, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
When you open it up on a personal channel to thousands, and I made the mistake of just, they got my old rule was, if you've got a deer head or a fish in your picture, I'll accept your friend request.
That's bad idea. About like me, yeah.
Start you if you're gonna cross pollinate, as I say on social media, start you a business fan page or something on Facebook where you can keep that world separate from that whole world. That's the first thing I tell anybody. As far as legitimate stuff is, you got to put out content very regularly, and you've got to keep it fairly defined in a tight niche in what you're doing. So what I mean by that is, one of the things I learned, early on, I had a little mixed success with some hunting stuff.
Yeah.
But as that was for like, 6 weeks out of the year. And YouTube was still figuring out what to do with me at that point. Once they figured out, oh, this must be fishing stuff, the hunting stuff did not work anymore. I would put up videos better than the first ones, wouldn't get any traction because YouTube was serving them out to people that were into fishing because they kind of pegged me into that world. So you kind of have to figure out where you're going to be and create that kind of content for those kind of people. And the bottom line is the most important thing. It doesn't matter how great a video you create, how compelling it is. The thumbnail is the single most important thing.
Yeah.
That thumbnail is going to determine whether anybody even stops.
Yeah.
After that, you got to have some kind of title to kind of get them in there. The term clickbait is thrown around.
Yeah.
And if you wipe from your mind that clickbait is bad, if it's misleading clickbait, it's bad. Okay. But it's truly clickbait. I mean, you got to have something that gets somebody to go, I want to click on this and watch it. Then you got to deliver the goods. So, that's kind of the thing there with the way the algorithm is now and the way things work. That's, it helps to have titles, good tags, a good description when YouTube is figuring out who you are. Was in the beginning, they kind of, it's, they're figuring out from what you put in the description and throwing it out there, see who takes it. And they'll but after that, once they kind of figure out the niche that you're in, that's when that thumbnail is so important. And, it's part of the reason, I've started putting my face in a lot of them. And Keith and I argue about this all the time. It's not that I think people recognize me because still 70% of my views are people not subscribed to the channel. It's a very subtle psychological, deal that YouTube figured out that people will stop and look at a face before they will a thumbnail that's full of a bunch of type. And you can experiment with this yourself. Go type in how to catch catfish, look at what all comes up, and pay attention to where your eye stops and what it looks at. Go type in best catfish bait. Pay attention to where your eyes stop. A lot of times it's people. If not, it's a very simple design in the thumbnail that gets people to stop. And, faces help. Fish pictures are hard. It's hard to use a fish picture and get somebody to stop on it. Catfish are not, for whatever reason, don't show up in an image well. It takes a special catfish picture for somebody to stop on. Same thing with a carp. I think carp's a little more sexy, honestly, just because it has scales.
Really? Okay.
I just think it stands out more. You can jack the saturation and color up on a carp because most of them are a yellow brownish kind of hue. Again, that's you wanted a tip, and I give you 37. So
no, hey, like I said,
I like that one. I can talk about that all day, but most of the time it bores people to death that are not into it.
I appreciate it, and I know a lot of people were, commenting and stuff like that. I'm sure they appreciate it too. The one thing I like, and by no means am I great or big or anything, but I noticed that when I first started, I would try to put out like a whole bunch of videos, like in a week, and I found that by being more regular, I guess. Maybe one video or two videos a week, like scheduled in advance. It seemed like that helped me a little bit.
The volume thing is, I think pretty much the way it works. Here's the deal. You're better off putting out one a week and they're good than to put out a bunch of them and they're I cranked up the volume to 3 a week during COVID. I had the time to do it because I was not working. And it was a grind.
I'm sure we're glad you did because it gave us something to watch. So.
It was a magic time. I keep the level quality pretty decent on them, but I will say that I cannot do that now. I'm starting to get a little real world work back. I'm also doing a lot more guiding than I used to. So it's 2 a week is where I'm going to have to stay. And I made, a decision to ramp up the quality. But what you were saying was, to crank out a bunch of them, and you talk to the big YouTubers, these are, the Casey Neistats and, that have done that, they've got editors, that are
Oh
cutting
yeah,
this stuff.
yeah,
They got producers figuring out,
yeah,
stuff, and it's hard for them to do it. So,
yeah,
somebody like me trying to do it, it's virtually impossible to sustain it. So, and there's some downsides to it too. You start to almost cannibalize your own market as far as your own viewers, because some of the promotion of them through YouTube starts to overlap, and
yeah.
that's makes it a lot tougher.
And I know a lot of people think that, once you get monetized, you get rich too. Guys, that's not the case. So,
No,
um,
no, it takes, it takes some time to get to. It's almost funny. I remember when the YouTube thing kind of said, "Oh, you got to have 1,000 subscribers," or whatever they went to, and it's like people were complaining that,
yeah,
I'm losing money. It's like there's
you're
really
not
not that
making
much.
nothing with 1,000 subscribers anyway.
Yeah, there's not that much
Yeah,
at that level.
yeah,
But you're not gonna get rich. But with that said, you can get rich. There are people
yeah,
that are, making hundreds of thousands of dollars doing fishing videos.
yeah,
And you have to look, no further than Black Tip H in the saltwater world, Lake Fort guy that's in the bass fishing world. Catfishing Carp is another channel that's in that world.
yeah,
Richard Jean's into that, realm now with the amount
yeah,
of views that he's getting. So it can be done. It takes work. It takes a lot of dedication, and
yeah,
you got to find that something that works and appeals and where your little place is. And it's tough. It's tough.
yeah,
But it's like anything else in life. It takes dedication to it. This is a marathon. This is a road trip. This is not a sprint. And some people have short success and quick success, and
yeah, yeah,
they're the anomaly. There's been videos put out where I think it was TubeBuddy or somebody tracked a bunch of stuff. And I think to get to the silver play button, 100,000 subscribers, the average YouTuber that gets to that point has put out 1,000 videos.
yeah,
And that number may be low, but I know it's at least 1,000, because I remember looking the other day. It's like, I'm right in the middle of average in the
yeah.
amount I put out versus where I'm at. So,
But
it takes
that's a good
dedication,
thing,
takes hard
though.
work.
You're growing. Like you said, once you get that amount, it kind of doubles. So you're growing really good, and
Yeah.
that's a good thing. I guess if you're not growing, that's the bad thing. But
That's when you need to, kind of take a good hard look and be a little
yeah,
introspective and take a look at, that's when you need to look at what's working, what did work. If you got one video that did
yeah,
really good, you need to go back and look at that video and see what it was about. Because generally speaking, I think maybe there's a little bit there where YouTube may try to promote it, but there's something usually in the algorithm that worked really good for that video, whether it be the
yeah,
thumbnail, the
yeah,
title, the topic, whatever. For some reason, it worked. One of my early ones to blow up for whatever reason was the wasp nest spraying video. It apparently, unbeknownst to me, came out about the time some people got stung to death in England or something. So
oh,
it got European attention, and there was a lot of stuff going on over there with it. And wasps are something that are everywhere in the world. People try to kill them because they sting them. So it's one of those videos that if I did that again now with the way my stuff is, I don't know that it would work, just because
yeah,
my channel's where it's at. But at that time, channel was small. YouTube was serving stuff out and found something that worked. Now, should I have done bug spraying videos the rest of my career? Who knows where I'd be right now, but probably wouldn't be on your show.
you might be. I don't know. So um, who knows? But yeah, like I said, that's awesome. I love the tips, man. I appreciate that. I'm sure they
Yeah.
do.
Yes, so Go said, if you're on the fence about starting a channel, just do it. Yeah.
Yeah,
And he says he only uses his phone. Very smart. There is so much you can do with an iPhone.
yeah,
The cameras are great. You can do it with just the phone. Don't get tied up on the gear and the equipment and having a bunch of high-end stuff to do it. You can do really good stuff with this if you're creative in what you're doing. And it all comes down to the story more than anything. And
yeah,
cameras can help you with some sexy B-roll and everything else, but you don't have to have a drone. It's nice. It's great to have,
Yeah.
but it's not going to break a channel if you don't have it. So yeah, that's real good advice. If you want to do it, you just have to get in there and do it and create content.
And I know several people that messaged me that carp fish, and they said they were going to do it. And I've noticed a lot of people give up really easily too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my first several videos sucked, obviously they're still not that good, but if you do a video and it doesn't get any views, it's because YouTube's not going to put your stuff out there until they realize that you're there. You're trying to do something with it. I think.
Yeah, they're smart. I mean, this is they've got billions of dollars tied up in this business and making it work. And we may not like that our stuff doesn't do really good and get served out there, but usually there's some kind of reason behind it to a certain extent. But it is tough. And I think back to the first Catfish conference I went to. Steve Douglas had a little area for YouTubers there, and there are a bunch of them. We had a gathering. I probably had 1,000 or 2,000, 3,000 subscribers at the time. And I look back on that now. Some of the people I met there that had started YouTube channels, they're not doing them anymore. The commitment to it, people don't realize. One of the things I said when I started this, I got grief from some people about it, was, I said, I'm approaching this as a business. And, oh, you just do it for fun and blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, I'm doing it for fun too, but I'm treating it as a business in the way I'm doing it, and the commitment to it and the structuring of it. Because you have to look at it though. If you just look at it as, I may learn to bowl or I may learn to play golf. Well, you're probably just going to end up with that. I'm going to do it for a while. If it works, if it falls in my lap, great. If it doesn't fall in my lap, I'll quit in a year. And but the great thing about YouTube is you don't have to build 100,000 channel subscriber. You can go do what you want to do, put up what suits you. And just, for a lot of people, myself included, I just enjoy creating the content and telling the story. And if that's what you want to do that. Don't feel you have to. You can get kind of consumed by it and trying to make it into something. If you don't want to make it into something, that's fine too. Just throw some stuff up there and be happy with that. That's the great thing about the platform. It's got it from one end to another. But to make it grow, get bigger and get views, it takes a lot of work.
Yeah. And like I said, I don't want to keep you. I know you're probably pretty busy and probably tired. One last little subject.
Yeah.
The guide servicing. What do you got on that? Is there a pricing?
It's on my website. I've got the lakes listed that I fished. They're pretty much around here. DieterMelhornFishing.com. It's pretty easy to remember. And obviously it's in the link section on my channel. And yeah, I do trips here. And then, Carolina's on pretty much the Catawba chain. There's going to be some days, if you follow me on Facebook, where I may be like at Santee Cooper or Kerr Lake. I've done some stuff up there. I've let followers know that I'm around, and they're not lakes that I fish a lot, but some people just want to go out and fish them to get out there, and they're from that area. And we go out, and it's not like me fishing around here where I got a little better feel on what's going on and what's working. Some of these other places we kind of explore them together and figure out what's happening. But yeah, just website's the easiest place to check it out. It's got all my contact information and stuff on there.
Are you guaranteed to land 100-pound fish?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, I'll take a look at it. Like I said, my uncle, I would love to see him get a pretty good sized fish before anything happens to him. He's a good guy, so I'll take a look at it myself and see if we can't get something for maybe later in the year, or at least get him down there.
Awesome. I'm pretty honest with people too. I get crap from some of my guide buddies that do it for a living all the time. I'm kind of diversified. I got some YouTube. I still got some Real TV World. I get to do the guide stuff. It's kind of mixed in there because I had somebody. It was like 2 weeks ago when we had all the rain. We'll go if you really want to go. I said, but the fishing's bad. I said, if you want to reschedule it, we can reschedule it and do it later on down the road. And, they were cool with that. My guide buddies are like, oh man, if I got one booked, I'm taking it. So I'm going to go do it. But I try to be flexible. Some people just want to go. Now we had one the other day, same thing. I told the guy, I said, it's been kind of tough, maybe raining. And he's like, he said, we're going to go. He said, because he had to reschedule it for something. And, I said, cool, we'll go. I didn't realize it when they started the trip, they'd only caught like 6 or 7 pound fish. And one dude caught a 19 and the other caught one that was 31. So we only caught 4 or 5 fish, but I think it was 4, but we had 2 that were really good. So that was one that was really good there. I see Feral TV in the house. What is up? That's somebody from over here in the catfish world. That's a channel, I tell you, to keep an eye on. That's one that they got a good combination there. A guy and a gal fishing for catfish. They're actually fishing on the lakes around here, and keep an eye on them. I think as they fine tune and dial some stuff in, got some real potential. And that's some of my local peeps there in the house.
Awesome. When's the best time to fish down there around North Carolina?
Basically, anytime you're like breathing and still alive, it's a good time to fish. But as far as fine tuning that time down, we're kind of coming into it. This late March, April, May is a good time before the spawn kicks in. Our spawn typically, last year it came a little bit late. Typically by the last week of May, things lock up and you're kind of dead. So this time period coming in now is good for catching numbers, a wider range of, a better chance of getting a bunch of, nice fish, teeners and 20s and 30s. Summer, that June time period, that I always tell people between Memorial Day and July 4th, stay home, go to the beach, do something else. And then late summer into the summer part there, that's when the night fishing gets pretty good. Then you got a lot of boat traffic during the day. It seems like fish are a little more active at night then. And then the falls, and once you get into that, I always say that, and I've said this before, that it's like spring and fall are very similar in patterns, just like winter and summer are very similar in where the fish are. And summertime, it can be a lot of fish, down deep, deeper water, staying out of the shallow stuff. Water's hot, all that kind of stuff. But you get time periods where it's kind of the same thing in the wintertime, except you don't have as many active fish. Kind of the same thing with spring and fall. So those are my times. So the only time I'm, say the numbers aren't good, like winter is not good for numbers, but you can catch big fish. That's when you got a chance if you want to, there's so many trips this year in some of the videos here for the past few weeks where it's hideous fishing. It's just like beating your head in the wall. And then boom, you catch a 40, a 50, and you've only caught 4 fish, but man, it's a great day because you catch a monster, but the numbers aren't there. And I want it all. I want to catch a lot of fish, and I want to catch a big one. So that's kind of
all of them and all the big ones to go with it.
And that's the thing I mentioned before the show started, you and I were talking about just sometimes when you do this a lot, and I'm blessed to do it a lot, you take for granted sometimes big fish, decent fish. At least I do. And the thing doing the guide trip stuff has kind of given me a perspective with a lot of people that, hey, you know what? I had a bad day as far as catching numbers, but that dude caught the biggest fish he's ever caught. And it may only be a 12-pound fish, but that's the biggest fish he's ever caught. And I think back to the first time I caught that 14-pound blue on Mountain Island Lake right there at the water intake. And that's been 20 years ago, but I remember that day to a T. And that was the first double-digit catfish I ever caught. And that's the kind of thing that kind of doing the guide stuff has put it in perspective. And it's like, you know what, Dieter, you might want to just, relax a little bit here and go realize you're having a pretty good day. I try not to, one thing I try to be conscious of is not to go, oh, it sucked today. And, because for those people, it might have been the greatest day of fishing they've ever had. And we may have only caught 4 or 5 fish, but that may be the biggest fish they've ever caught. And you don't want to send them home with the idea of, wow, that was hideous. So that's been kind of a cool reawakening, because I've done guiding all along, but it was kind of on a limited basis. And now that I've done it with people from all over the place, it's been pretty cool. And, kind of getting that reality checked on just, being blessed to do what I do and how I do it.
For sure, for sure. Well, I'll tell you what, my camera is about to die. So
I
Dieter,
talked until it died. I told you I could do it.
but Dieter, thank you so much for coming on, man. I really do appreciate it. I'll take a look at your website. And I know when I typed in Dieter Melhorn, it come up with a film website instead.
Yeah, you
I
probably
was
got the
like,
production site. Yeah.
yeah. So I was like, hey, he does some TV work and stuff. So
And thanks to
but
everybody
brother,
in chat and that are
yeah.
watching too for dropping in tonight. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks everybody. Love your faces. Thanks for stopping in. And brother, I appreciate you. And I'll get with you. And maybe we can get my uncle on something down there. If
Awesome.
nothing else, like maybe I can send him. Get him. Does he need gear, or do you have gear too?
I've got everything. All I need is a license, depending on which state we're fishing in. So
Gotcha.
that's some good luck. Stop at there's a gas station up the street. Just get some good luck. Comes in a six
Before I
pack.
go, have you ever fished Del Hollow?
No.
Oh my goodness, there's some. I know there's got to be some big ones in there. Gotta be.
I know, that's one I haven't. Yep.
Okay, but Dieter, thanks a lot, brother. Peace out.
Thank you.
See you,
Thank you,
Pat.
man.
Thanks.